Hey, ooh, wow, hello, welcome back to the Monster Mash. Before the video begins, really quickly, I just wanted to say that I have finally opened up the email inbox. If you want to send a video topic or a question, or you just want to say hello, you can do that either by signing your name, or you can do it anonymously by emailing monstermashmailbox@gmail.com. That's monstermashmailbox@gmail.com. You can go ahead and just fucking send whatever. I don't really care. Maybe if your topic is good enough, it will become the basis of one of these videos. And if it isn't, I'll still try to shoot you a message back if I can. Anyway, on to the main video. Why, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Monster Mash. What are we even talking about today? You know what? I guess I'll start off by asking, hi, how you doing? I'm going to carbon date this video a little bit by saying that I have been playing an absolute metric fuck ton of Tears of the Kingdom pretty much all day today and yesterday. Today was one of the... Okay, how do I say this? Few games get me, like, truly enamored with them, you know? Only a few games in recent years, like, less than 5. Has been definitely more than others, but not as much as other people. Less than 5 games every couple years gets me like truly enamored with them. And right now that's Tears of the Kingdom. Last time it was Elden Ring. And then for a little bit of time it was Monster Hunter Rise. You know, I really enjoyed Monster Hunter Rise and World also. When World first came out, I should say. Anyway. I guess what I can just say is that it's been nice to finally okay, a little bit of a context about how I play video games. I play a lot of video games, especially games like Rise and World on my computer, which isn't exactly good for mental health because what do I also do on my computer? I fucking make these videos. So, and do everything else. I email people, I talk on Discord, I basically do everything on my PC, as a lot of other people in current year are also doing, you know, given that COVID and everything, when that happened, it was all from home stuff, and mental health took an all-time low, a massive dip. So for me, when I was playing Tears of the Kingdom, I'm playing on the Switch. I'm not playing on an emulator. I'm just thinking like, I'm just gonna deal with the piss poor frame rate. I'm just gonna fucking play the game as Nintendo intended, and I'm gonna do it on my TV in the rarely used game room in my house. And it was... I look back on the past, I want to say like 8-ish, maybe 9-ish hours that I put into the game already, spread across 2 days. And I look back on that and I think like, yeah, it's just been nice to be away from my PC all day. And it's been nice to like just play a game and not have to worry about anything. Which, you know, last time I had that feeling was Elden Ring, right? So I am still capable of feeling that emotion, thankfully. It's just, you know, I guess my standard of what is and isn't that sort of thing, like what can and can't activate that feeling is just a lot higher. Even games that I fucking adore, like Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower, I had to, like, work to finish. I had to sit down and be like, I am going to finish this fucking game. Hi-Fi Rush. I love Hi-Fi Rush. I still have yet to beat that game. I have not beat that game yet, and I need to. Right now, Tears of the Kingdom is taking priority. I'm not going to stress myself out about, you know, what I do and don't need to be doing, which actually does transition me into today's topic pretty well. And that is living in the present. And I know I know that the phrase living in the now, living in the present, living in the whatever, taking it day by day, it's a very overplayed, it's stereotypical, you know? When people want to talk about mental health, a lot of times they'll mention something along the lines of, you should stop worrying about the past, you should stop worrying about the future, you should just instead live in the now. And it's overplayed, very much overplayed. I will agree. I've heard that far too often from people. But what made it click in my head was I don't know if anybody here who watching this channel is aware of it of a I don't want to call him a YouTuber. He's an actual practicing counselor. His name is Alok. Fuck, I'm forgetting his last name. Dr. K, healthygamer.gg. If you're not familiar with him, I implore you to watch his content. He does a lot of really good stuff, and it puts a lot of things into great perspectives. Part of me wishes that he could be my actual counselor, because I feel like I'd be a lot better with that, but, you know, he's in Boston. It's not really something I can do. Anyway, watching his content, I watched one of his streams with Asmongold. You may or may not know who Asmongold is, and that's fine. You don't really need to know. He's a popular streamer, does a lot of MMO stuff. I don't really watch his content on his own, but for some reason I'm like, oh, I know who Asmongold is. I'm going to watch this video with Dr. K. Or watch Dr. K's video with him. It's like, why not? I was also listening to him when he was on I think it was the Steak and Eggs podcast. Asmongold, and a couple other people. Imaru and the bald guy who plays a lot of fucking gacha games. The only reason I know who that guy is because my buddy, when he used to play Arknights, he was one of the few content creators for Arknights. Not my friend, but the third person on this podcast. Anyway, I watched the podcast with him. It was really cool. I really liked his message. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch more of his content. And he basically described what living in the now is pragmatically, I guess, or like it made sense in my head. Where one of the big problems that a lot of people have is that they're too worried about things that have yet to happen and things that have already happened. Two things that you can't control in any way, shape, or form, right? So you shouldn't worry about things you can't control. It's like being worried about, it's like having anxiety over, like, oh, what if a meteorite lands on the Earth tomorrow and we all die? Also, fuck you, Nergigante. Jesus Christ, that was some bullshit that he just did. He just came up and was just like, oh, he's on low health. Oh, swipe. Oh, swipe. Oh, swipe. And I was like desperately trying to put my lance away and just run away, and that was my mistake. I should have stood my ground. I have a shield. Whatever. Anyway. He describes it as like, yeah, like you can't control the future or the past. You can try to control the future, you know. Planning ahead is definitely something that's good for you, but at the end of the day, you're not really going to be able to control what happens. He also talks about like grief, how people are unable to grieve nowadays. Attention spans are getting shorter, at least that's what he's noticing. And things on like self-motivation and self-actualization. I'm not going to summarize his entire 2.5 hour long podcast and then an hour and 45 minute long podcast that he was on with the other guys. I'm not going to sit here and like try to summarize the whole thing. But effectively, after watching a couple of his videos, more than a couple, but after watching a few of his videos, it like started kind of clicking for me. And I'm going to try to apply that to my daily life. And I guess that's kind of like what's going to be different about today's video, is that I'm trying to like bring forth something that I'm like working on to hopefully make myself better. I've done this before on the main channel. I talked about journaling. I think it was the Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate video that I did there, where I was fighting all the Fated 4. I talked about journaling, and I talked about like, oh, how I would, I was hopeful. Like I at that point in the video, I believe I had done it for like a week or two, and it felt good to like do that, and it was cool to do. You fast forward a few months, and my journal basically devolved into, yeah, I went to work, came home, played some video games, maybe talked to my friends. You know, nothing real important happened today. I worked a little bit on a video, had to scrap it. Yeah, other than that, nothing really happened. It eventually just kind of devolved into me over and over saying, nothing really happened today. And that just kind of sucked, you know? It was a constant, like, for me, journaling at this stage in my life, journaling for me is just reminding myself how little I'm getting done. Which I actually do want to take special notice of. Like, we put a lot of emphasis on how productive we are, like, as a society, at least in American society. I have no idea how it is in other countries, but like North American Western society, there's a lot of emphasis on like how productive are you? And if you're not super productive, then it's like, oh, you know, you're obviously a failure, or you're lazy, and that's bad, and you shouldn't, you know, you should want to be as productive as possible. And that was actually another thing that Dr. K was talking about, was like what laziness is. And he put it in a good way that I really appreciated, where it was like, what do you need to do, right? The question of what do you need to do, not what you need to do for something in the future. What do you need to do? What do you need to do now? And after watching that video, I just sort of like sat up and like looked around, and it's like, what do I need to do? I should probably clean my desk. You know, I should take my dishes downstairs and put them in the sink. You know, I should take a shower. I'll be the first to admit that, you know, I don't shower every day. You know, I shower whenever I need to leave the house, but I don't really shower every day. I feel like that's normal, especially when you've got like weird mental health goblins that are eating at the back of your brain all day. But like asking that question, I'm starting to ask that question to myself more and more, like every day. And it's like, what do I need to do right now, or what do I want right now? And you know, eventually, after playing Breath of the Wild for so long, it's just like, well, what do I want to do? Well, I want to sit and talk about this Monster Hunter footage that I recorded, you know, a few days ago, of me grinding up Elder Dragons. Which, by the way, I actually want to talk about this. We are playing the game in ultra wide. I never mentioned that, but we're doing a little bit of an experiment with ultra wide gaming. I am a huge fan of the ultra wide gaming. I'm not going to be like one of those like, ooh, ultra wide or nothing kind of people. It's just like, oh, when a game supports it, that's cool. And I do appreciate the extra effort that the devs put in to support that stuff. So if you guys like the ultra wide aspect ratio for the videos, I might keep doing them for the games that support them. If not, then, you know, whatever. I might do the ultra wide stuff when we eventually get to Monster Hunter 4. I actually don't know, because the bottom screen you don't really need to see. So I'm probably just gonna stick with the same style I did the videos back when I was doing the Monster Hunter 4 videos in 2021. Anyway, yeah, I'm just starting to ask myself more like, you know, what do I want, or what do I need? And need in the sense of like, you know, do I need to eat food? Do I need to go to the bathroom? You know, do I need to take a break? Things like that. And I guess really this is just sort of eventually leading to me being like less harsh on myself, because that is one of the big problems that I have. And that stuff is very easy to fall back into. Like earlier today, I was talking with one of my film buddies, like people who's like actually doing film industry work. And basically he was telling me like, yeah, dude, you need to fucking network. Like, people want editors. You just need to fucking tell them that you exist. And nothing against him. I know that he did not intend this to come off this way, but that sort of came off to me as like, oh yeah, I really don't do anything, huh? I guess I am just a failure, and I guess I never really will amount to anything. It's like that kind of like goblin brainworm type thinking is like so easy to fall into. Give me 1 second, sorry. Sorry about that, I had to hydrate. Yeah, that sort of mental goblin shit is so fucking easy to fall into. It's kind of unreal. One more second. I'm cutting out like when I'm drinking water and when I'm coughing, because I would imagine that people don't want to fucking hear that when they're trying to vibe with this garbage that I'm watching, or that I'm making, I should say. What was I even saying? Yeah, mental health shit, it's very tricky. For someone like me, this is not how it works for everybody, but for me in particular, I notice that whenever I'm trying to tackle a problem, I dissect it, and I want to understand how the process that leads to the problem works, to try to understand on a fundamental level. It's like, okay, well, how does the problem happen? And I think that came from my dad, because my dad is a very similar way. Being that he's a computer programmer type person, he does IT work, he does fucking what does he do nowadays? He does situation analysis or some shit. I don't fucking know. Who cares? It's not really important. But yeah, I notice that, like, oh, my car's broken. All right, cool. Let's go down a fucking rabbit hole to understand how the air conditioning system of your fucking car works, eventually leading to, oh, there's a capacitor somewhere in the front of the car that you need to that it's just like a plug and play thing, because these things burn out all the time, you see. So you need to get the capacitor at AutoZone. You need to take it out of your old car and put it in your new one, right? Like that is how my brain solves problems. I need to understand the process of how things work and how the problem, like at what point does the issue arise, right? And you can't really apply that same sort of logic to mental health, right? Because mental health is so personal, and it's so different from person. Like it's so unique, right? You can have similar situations between two people, but no, I think it's going to be very difficult. Well, there's 7 billion people on this earth. It's less likely for two people to have exactly the same issues that arise from exactly the same place and are solved in exactly the same way. It's probably possible. There are 7 billion people on this planet, but it's definitely not going to be a common thing. You can't approach mental health the same way you can approach fixing a computer. You know what I mean? So part of this process over the past couple years of me, like, trying to understand this is, like, trying to apply that kind of logic to my mental health. But I can only do that in the ways that I think, right? I can't look up a guide, or I can't go on fucking Stack Overflow and is like, oh, I just need to download this library. So, you know, I'm trying to understand how my thought processes work, and I'm trying to understand why I think the way that I do. And that's challenging, obviously, because on top of that, I have to manage my own mental health, and I have to make sure that I don't feel bad 24/7. And on top of that, I have to go to a fucking job. And on top of that, I have family and friends. And on top of that, I have to fucking eat. And on top of that, you know, I have to fucking deal with 2 YouTube channels and a budding career in video editing. Flounderingly budding. I don't know. I'm trying to not be hard on myself. Because that is one of the problems that I've always had, is that it's like, oh, what do I need to do? I always thought to myself, like, in the future, it's like, I need to do this, because if I don't do this at this moment right now, I'm going to be a failure, and I'm never going to have a successful job, and I'm never going to be able to own my own place. I'm never going to be able to move out of my dad's, and I'm never going to be able to do this. Like, you can see how my brain spirals myself, right? So it's like, step number 1, just fucking stop it. Try to live more in the present, right? Because what's gonna happen tomorrow? I don't know. I'll figure that out tomorrow. I'll take each challenge as it comes in, and I'll try to solve it as it happens. Obviously, I still want to plan a little bit for the future. You know, I don't want to be flying completely blind, but I also don't want to be so laser focused on a future that may or may not happen. Fuck you, Valhazak. Goddamn. Yeah, so me, quote unquote, living more in the present is more so just tackling problems as they come in and trying to, you know, take each day at a time, you know? Because I know that for myself, if I constantly am thinking about the future and it's like, okay, well, here's my to-do list. Like, to-do lists are good, and then they do actually help me whenever I get things done with them, right? But I can't make a to-do list that goes further than, like, a day, you know? I can make a to-do list for a project. Like, I feel like that's fine for me. I need to do that a little bit more with some of the projects that I'm doing right now, but, you know, making a to-do list for a project, sure, I can handle that. Making a to-do list for a day, absolutely, I can fucking do that, no problem. It's one day. Making a to-do list for the week, you got me there. That's where the brain starts not working. I mentioned in the ADHD paralysis video that it's like, yeah, that is a real thing where you can get overwhelmed by all the things you need to do, and then weirdly you just don't do them. And that's like, oh shit, is that a fucking moonlight gecko? Let's go, baby. I forgot that I recorded that. That's my third moonlight gecko, by the way. What was I going to say? Yes. If I'm constantly worrying about futures that may or may not happen, then I'm never going to do anything, and that future will come true. It's a weird self-fulfilling prophecy where if I'm too worried about what I'm not doing, I'm just gonna end up not doing anything and not get anything done. Not gonna do the things that I want to do. So I just need to shut the fuck up. I need to tell my brain to shut the fuck up and just do what you need to do today and be okay with that. And at the same time, you need to tell your brain to shut the fuck up and just not worry if you don't do certain things too much. Like, don't worry too much. It's like, okay, why didn't you do this thing today? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. What's done is done. Just worry about what you got to do today, because you can't change the past, right? That certainly helps me when my fucking not trauma, but when the bad thoughts arise from the poor relationships I've had in the past, when that shit starts trying to haunt me, and like all the cringe things I did in high school. That's definitely. How did that not fucking block? Okay, whatever. It definitely helps me there. I just got to remind myself, the past. You can't fucking worry about the past. God damn it. Fuck you, Valhazak. Can't worry too much about the past. Because, the past has already happened. All you can do is forge ahead and fix what you can and take each day one step at a time. It's much, much, much easier on yourself if that's what you're doing. And that's hard. That is objectively a difficult thing to do. Because you like what you have to do at that point is you have to rewire how your thought processes are. You need to be able to look at your own thoughts and recognize that things are going wrong and you need to reorganize things. You need to be above yourself in that moment. That's hard. that is hard to be like that self-aware, and some people just aren't self-aware at all. Self-awareness is a very, very weird thing. I might do a video on self-awareness at one point, because that's another thing that I stress myself out about, is like, oh man, did I say something cringe? Did I fuck up that social interaction? Do the people around me even enjoy my presence? It's that self-esteem shit. That shit. It's not fun. I'm still struggling with that shit. And I'm still trying to understand my own thought processes about that, because that's step one. You got to understand how your brain functions before you can fix it. See, I'm trying to apply that logic, even though I just said I couldn't do it. It might be possible for me to do that, honestly. I guess what I meant in that moment is that you can't just apply that process to everybody, because everybody's thought processes are different, and I can really only apply that logic to my own brain because I know how my brain works, or at least I'm trying to understand how my brain works. And if I understand that's why I don't play gacha games, and why I don't play a lot of modern games that have loot boxes and shit in them. I don't play any games that have do I? What games do I play that have loot boxes in them? Nothing, actually, now that I think about it. There are games that I play that have paid DLC and paid cosmetics, like Monster Hunter World. I've spent like $3 on a fucking emote before. Whatever. I do know that I am very easily... it's easy for me to fall for that. So I just don't play games that have those mechanics in them. Because I know what the fucking devs are trying to do. Or, not the devs. I know what the publisher is trying to do. and I know that that my brain is going to fall for that at some point. So just don't even entertain the idea. You know, I know, like, here's another one. I know that it's very easy for me to just turn my brain off and doom scroll. I know it's very easy for me to turn my brain off, doom scroll, or just binge YouTube for like 9 hours a day, right? And that shit sucks. YouTube is something that I'm still working on. I'm more aware of it, and I'm trying to take steps to not have that happen anymore. And here we go. I'm beating myself up again about shit that I haven't done. Anyway, it's just take a day a step at a time, man. What'd you do today? You fucking played Breath of the Wild. Okay, cool. Honestly, I feel like today wasn't wasted because I was able to just play a good game and just enjoy it and just have that moment where it's like, damn, video games are cool. You know, Tears of the Kingdom, man, that fucking game, it's giving me similar feel-good moments like I found in Elden Ring. Obviously, no spoilers, but what I will say is that just like Elden Ring, I have had more than one moment of like, holy fuck, just how big is this game? Obviously, a game being big is not indicative of its quality, but when I look at the open world map of a From Software game, I can be safe in assuming that that world is going to be pretty full of content. When I look at the open world of Tears of the Kingdom, having already put like 200 something hours into Breath of the Wild, it's pretty safe for me to assume that the new open world and all the other shit on top of it, it's going to be pretty damn full of stuff to do. And sure enough, my experience today, I'm actually fucking falling asleep because I've been playing that game for so many goddamn hours today. Yeah, that game is very good. Very big. There's a lot of stuff to do. It's kind of unreal how they were able to squeeze that much into a Nintendo Switch cartridge. Frame rate is ass, but you know, it's running on a Switch. What should I have fucking expected? Might play it on an emulator one day, might not. I really don't know. I'm just gonna play it on the Switch and just fucking deal with it. Maybe after this, I don't know what I'm gonna do after this. I shouldn't even worry about that. I shouldn't even worry about that. You know, it's about the end of the day. It's about 10 o'clock at night. What am I gonna do? I've already brushed my teeth. I'm already good. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna probably just go right to bed, and I'm gonna wake up when I wake up, and I'm gonna go to work tomorrow. And we're gonna see what else happens tomorrow. You know? Oh, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. Shit. Okay, well, I gotta make dinner after work then. Alright, there you go. That's my one thing I'm gonna do tomorrow. It's Mother's Day. I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna fucking shoot my mom a Happy Mother's Day text. I don't think I'm gonna get her a card because cards are dumb and pointless. Like, honestly, I think greeting cards are fucking worthless. They're so stupid. Like, if you're gonna tell someone happy whatever, just fucking tell them happy whatever. I'm sitting there. I'm gonna be sitting there in front of my mother, and I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day by making a fucking grilled chicken and cacio e pepe dinner for her. That's how I'm gonna say Happy Mother's Day. I don't need a fucking card to also go along with it, just to sort of like be a little fucking bow on top. No. It's like wrapping paper. Like, you don't fucking need it. It's just paper waste. Why do you need it? I'm getting upset. Anyway, it is the end of the video. I carved that fucking Valhazak gem that I wanted to get, and I got my 2 fangs that I needed for the charm I was making. And I also just realized that I never, in recording of this, I actually just realized that I never showed the equipment I was using. So there you go. There's the equipment that I'm using for this build. If you were wondering what equipment I was using, there you go. If not, here you go. Here's the information anyway. Thanks so much for watching the Monster Mash. I hope you had a great time. I'm gonna go sleep. I'm tired. I need the rest.